Hi everyone. So now you have received your bids from all the subcontractors whom you approached. Like all the qualified or pre-qualified subcontractors have submitted their bids. Now, as the main contractor, it is your time to assess their bids in depth, take your time, study their bids properly, check for all the rates, whether they have quoted the rates properly or no, and finally choose the subcontractor whom you wish to allocate the work. Several companies, they have L1 based policy, which means after you pre-qualify the subcontractors, that means all the subcontractors are eligible for the work that you are trying to subcontract. Now you have to go for the subcontractor who is trying to quote the lowest of all, that is called as L1 policy. But several other companies, they do not go with L1 policy. Instead, even after pre-qualification also, they will assess various parameters like quality, safety, then several other things, and then they will choose the subcontractor who suits all the criterias and not just about the cost. Okay, so this is how one Excel sheet which can be used for the comparison of different rates of vendors looks like. Okay, just a second. Yeah. So see, in this particular column, column number B, see, first of all, you have to mention the package title, which is supply of tiles package. You can also mention the package ID for easy reference. See, every package, they will have some certain ID, like excavation package. Starting from the excavation package till the external development works, you can allocate a certain ID to your package. Then here you have to mention the name of your company. I have not shown any name of the company. You can show your company's name also. Then the name of the project for which this particular comparison is being done. Then all the values, what all these values are in rupees or in US dollars or in whatever currency it is, you can mention the currency also here. Then here you can mention the logo of your company. Whatever is the logo of your company, you can paste that logo over here. Then in this column, first of all, in this row, you have to mention serial number, then item description, then unit of measurement, and then subsequently you have to mention your budget, then all the details of the vendors, like what is the quantity, what is the vendor name, what is their contact details like contact number or email address, then what is the rate that this particular vendor has quoted, and what is the amount coming by multiplying the quantity with the rate. Then for vendor 2, their contact details, their quantity, their rate. See, in this particular package, we have only supplied them the quantity. Whatever is the quantity, we have given them the quantity. But in certain packages, the quantities calculation might be in the scope of the vendor also. So this quantity might differ. All the vendors quantity might differ because they have to themselves do the quantity takeoff, and they will have different analysis. So similarly, vendor 3, vendor 4, and whatever is the number of vendors, for all the vendors you have to put certain columns over here. Then it will be last purchase price. Whatever similar specification package you have done in the past, you can mention the details of the last purchase price for that particular package, name of the project for which that package was done. So this is the supply of tiles package. Okay, so this is only supply of tiles. So you can see from your past experience, have you purchased tiles in any of your past project? If yes, the specifications are similar, then you can put the columns of last purchase price along with the project name, whatever was the quantity that you purchased there, whatever the rates, and what was the total amount. Okay, so first of all, we have vitrified tiles. So you have to give them the complete BOQ. You already gave them the BOQ. It's just the analysis, but still I'll be discussing in depth. So this is the vitrified tiles, and you have to mention clearly what are the types of tiles. So first of all, it is a vitrified tile. What is the thickness of this? What is the water absorption percentage? What is the standard to which these tiles should be conforming to? Okay, then what is the approved make? What is the size of the tile? Everything you have to give. So it is in square meter, and you have given the quantity as 12,678. And this is the rate that you have quoted during your tendering. So this is the tender budget. You do not have the GFC quantity available as of now. So you are going with the tender quantity only, and whatever you have quoted rate during tender, you are comparing it with the tender budget. You can also compare it with the detailed budget that you make after your tendering. But as of now, we do not have that budget. So we are going with the tender budget only. It's up to you. It's up to your company. So we quoted rate as 488 rupees. And this is the amount which is coming as, which is nothing but your 61.86 lakh rupees. Okay, so now for vendor one, the quantity is same, but he's quoting 403, which is very less as compared to our tender budget. Second vendor is quoting 387, which is further less. Then third vendor is quoting 376, and fourth vendor is quoting 380. So you have to analyze whether these rates are feasible or no. Suppose a particular vendor quotes 200 rupees or 150 rupees, then you can easily make it out that that particular vendor might not be able to do that in 150 rupees. But why is he quoting so less? He might be hungry for getting the package. He might be hungry for getting this particular contract work. So might be possible just to get the work and just to, just to fall in the trap, you cannot provide them the works. So you have to assess the rates very carefully. If some vendor is quoting very less, abnormally less, you should not give the package to that particular vendor. That might be a trap also. That happens very frequently in procurement department. So here the rates seem okay. So we can go ahead with all the vendors. Now moving to other item, which is your ceramic tiles, and under these three further items are there. One is glazed ceramic floor tiles. Okay, size is mentioned, thickness is mentioned, quality is mentioned, IS standard is mentioned. Then another is ceramic glazed wall tiles. Earlier was same only, but it is for floor. This is for wall, and size is also different. Okay, IS standard is same, thickness is also different. Okay, but you have mentioned the color also here. You see, in all colors, shades except red and black, it is clearly mentioned. Maybe the client would have given you the requirement that the color should not be red and black. Apart from these two colors, you can bring any color. See, ultimately, whatever will this whatever the vendor you'll be choosing, these vendors will be giving you some samples. These samples will have to be vetted by the client. The client will have to approve these samples. See, although the client has mentioned in the BOQ that these two colors are not suitable. Apart from that, any color you can bring. But ultimately, whatever color you will bring, the client, the whatever facility you are manufacturing, that is for client. So the client has to approve that thing ultimately. See, client will approve because he has told that except red and black, everything is okay. But still might be possible that client says, okay, no, please don't bring this color. This is literally odd. So go for some other color. Might be possible. So the subcontractor will have to change their color and shade as per the requirements of the client also. Okay. Then another is floor finish with anti-skid ceramic tiles. This is the thickness, this is the size, this is the water absorption percentage, this is the standard, this is the flexural strength. All the details you have to give them to the vendor properly. And these are the rates that we have quoted in our tender. Okay, so now you can just verify the rates given by all the vendors. You can check the total amount that is coming after multiplying the rates with the respective quantities. See, this, if you see, 1.5 crore, this is the budget. 1.5 crore rupees is the budget. And this particular vendor is quoting 1.4 crore rupees. Second vendor is quoting 1.5 crore rupees. Third is quoting 1.402 crore rupees. And fourth vendor is quoting 1.469 crore rupees. Okay. So this particular yellow highlighted vendor is the L1 vendor. That means this vendor is quoted the least amount out of all the vendors. It might be possible if your company has L1 policy, you can go with vendor 3 and you can issue them the letter of intent that, okay, we are choosing you for doing the supply of tiles work for our this and this particular project. Okay. But some companies might not go with L1 policy. So for that, you have to see the performance rating also. You have to see the terms of payment also. Everything else also you have to study. So here in this particular row, you can also mention the terms of payment, whatever terms you have agreed with the vendor. So for this particular vendor, you have to pay them 10% advance and 90% after delivery at site. For this vendor, there is no advance payment at all. Everything you will be paying them after they deliver the material at site. But for this vendor, which is your L1 vendor, you see they're asking 20% advance payment. So might be possible your company says, although this is L1 vendor, this has quoted the least amount, but since they are asking for 20%, we won't be able to give 20% advance payment. We don't believe them at all. Okay. Then fourth vendor is asking for 10% advance payment and 90% after the delivery at site. Okay, you also have to see their past performance rating. So might be possible that they have worked with us earlier. So whenever they work, we usually after closing the contract, we give them some rating. based on their performance at site. So first vendor is 10 on 10, second is 9 on 10, but this third vendor, which is the 11 vendor, this is very new vendor and he's asking 20% advance. So your company might say no, since it is a new vendor and is asking 20% advance, I won't go with 11 vendor, I will go with L2 vendor. But L2 vendor is 7.5 rated out of 10. So your company might say, we don't want that vendor again. He did not perform very well. He delivered the material late at site during the last project. So we will go with L3 vendor. So you might go with this L3 vendor, which is your vendor number one, who is asking 10% advance payment, but it has a very good record. It got 10 on 10 rating in the past project. Okay. So ultimately, whatever vendor you will choose, it is very subjective, subject to site, subject to contract, subject to previous performance, and several other factors. So there is no hard and fast rule that you have to go with vendor one, vendor two, vendor three, vendor four, or whatever it is. Okay. Then this is the last purchase price. See, this amount you cannot compare because the quantity will be varying, but you can definitely compare the rates, whatever you operated in the last project. Okay. So like if you see, this is the 288 rupees that you operated in last project, but all the vendors, they are quoting 300, 345, 301, 366, and even in a tender also you quoted 398. So might be possible that this project that you have done, you would have done this project maybe 4 years back, 5 years back, or 10 years back. Due to inflation, the prices might change, but still you can always compare with your past projects. It's always a good idea. Okay. Then you also have to mention savings over budget. So how you will calculate savings over budget? You have the budget amount. You just need to calculate whatever amount vendors are quoting, and you have to subtract that from the budget. So you can see this vendor number three, it is L1 vendor, and savings over budget is maximum for this particular vendor. Okay. So that's how you can compare various vendor bids and you can analyze them very properly. If at all you find that a vendor is quoting high abnormally or abnormally low, you can suspect them, you can catch them, and maybe you can reject them at this point of time also, because see, you don't have any agreement at this point. You can tell them, even they have pre-qualified, even they have done a lot of work in submitting the documents, but still you can disqualify them and tell them, no, 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 this you cannot do this in this less rate. Either give the justification for this or we will disqualify you at this point of time. If they are quoting very high, you can always renegotiate with them. See, there can be chances where savings over budget is coming negative everywhere. Here you see savings over budget is coming positive in 3 cases out of 4, but in certain cases it might be possible that due to certain reasons all the vendors are quoting very high over the tender budget. So in that particular case, you will have to renegotiate with the vendor. At this point of time, your negotiation skills will help you a lot. So that is why it is often told that the people who are working in procurement department, they should have good negotiation skills, good communication skills they should have, so that they can, they can talk to the vendor, they can talk to the subcontractor and get their rates down by a certain margin. So apart from that, if you see, everything else is okay, and you have to compare all the quotes received from all the pre-qualified vendors very properly based on all the factors. Based on, even you can also compare the quality, you can also compare the safety for the vendors, you can also compare the risk also, and finally you can take a call on what vendor you will select ultimately. Okay, so that's all about the video. Thank you, everyone.